Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is still doing well. Welcome back to tonight's middle of the night bonus upload. Before we jump into it, a couple links. As you all know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They all were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost you a cent. Click that like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all these things, they really do help this channel to continue to grow and go, and yes, folks, they definitely do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump into tonight's middle of the night bonus upload, shall we? Bladenboro is a small community surrounded by pine forests and swamps at the southeastern edge of the North Carolina Piedmont. It was also the setting for the greatest monster flap North Carolina has ever seen. The story begins in Bladen County in a town called Clarkton. On December 29, 1953, a local woman heard her neighbor's dogs barking and whimpering. When she went out to investigate, she saw a large cat-like creature sulk off into the darkness. That was the first sighting of the Beast of Bladenboro. 2 days later, the creature would strike. On New Year's Eve, Bladenboro Police Chief Roy Fjors was called out to a farm of Woody Storm. 2 of Storm's dogs had been killed by something large and powerful. The poor dogs' bodies had been completely drained of blood. More reports started coming in. D.G. Pate said he watched from his service station as a dog was attacked by a large creature and dragged into the woods. Chief Fjors was inundated with reports of dogs being attacked from across the county. People said they saw an animal like a bear or a panther that was 3 feet long, 20 inches high, with a long tail and a cat's face. Others reported hearing the creature scream coming from the swamps near the town, saying it sounded like a woman with a knife stuck in her back. On January 1st, the bodies of 2 more dogs were discovered. These also had been drained of blood. Chief Fjors decided it was time to call out for help. A team of professional hunters were brought in from Wilmington to track down this animal. Chief Fjors accompanied the tracking party and said he saw footprints the size of silver dollars. Then, on January 5th, the Beast of Bladenboro attacked a human. That evening, Mrs. C.E. Kinslaw heard a sound of whimpering dogs outside of her house. She went outside to investigate. She saw a large cat-like creature rush towards her. Mrs. Kinslaw screamed and her husband rushed outside. The beast was frightened off and fled back into the woods. The newspapers quickly picked up the story, and soon Bladenboro was overwhelmed with a flurry of hunters coming in, eager to bag the beast. Over 600 men from as far away as Tennessee descended on the town. A full-armed pack of fraternity brothers from UNC Chapel Hill made its way down to the town to see about putting the beast's head on their wall. But nobody knew exactly what they were hunting. Speculation began running rampant. Some thought it was a Carolina panther, a species of large cat that lived in the area until early 20th century, but is now thought to be extinct. Others said they were dealing with a coyote or a stray dog. Most of those who had descended on Bladen County thought the only way to find out for sure what the beast was by killing it. The town was terrified. Ev Butler, who was a young man in Bladenboro at the time, recalled nighttime was the feared time around these parts. As the sun set, the entire community on the west side of the town went indoors and didn't come out unless it was necessary. The fear of the beast had a very real effect on Mr. Butler and his family. We didn't live in the town limits at that time, and almost everyone had an outdoor privy. To supplement the outside convenience, most houses had a thunder jug, a big jug that could be used at night and emptied into the privy during the day. That jug got a lot of use during the scare. Deciding that things were getting too dangerous, Bladenboro Mayor Bob Fussell and Chief Flores called to the end of the hunt. On January 13th, taking an unusually large bobcat that had been trapped by a local farmer. The two men hung it on a flagpole in the center of town. They posted a sign underneath slating this is the Beast of Bladenboro. After a week or so, things settled back to normal. The hunters left town, and reports of killing stopped coming in. Whatever the Beast of Bladenboro was, it had vanished back into the night and the swamps from where it first emerged. The monster of Caswell County, North Carolina. In 1873, a giant, strange-looking horned animal which howled ferociously was spotted in the mountains of Caswell County, North Carolina. A gentleman recently from Shelton-Laurel District of North Carolina, some 40 miles from this place, informs us that the people in that densely thicketed county are greatly excited in regard to the appearance upon several different places of a huge mountain monster, the species of which is unknown. Mr. George Anderson, one of the gentlemen residing in Laurel, being one of the persons who saw this monster, also furnishes us with the following description of it. I was out in the woods hunting up some lost hog, when all of a sudden there came into my path a beast, the appearance of which, I must confess, caused me to quake for the first time in many years. Aside from this strange and unusual appearance, the unearthly yell it uttered on perceiving me, which reverberated through the forest, was enough to shake the senses of the most daring adventurer. The animal was some 100 yards distance from me and appeared to be a huge black bear, with a mane and a head like a lion, but had horns like an elk on it. Its tail was long and bushy, with dark and light rings around its extremities. Its eyes gleamed like a panther, and its size was that of an ordinary ox, but somewhat longer. Just previous to making its appearance, I had shot my gun off at a squirrel and felt a little prepared to meet such a ferocious beast without any weapon of defense. I immediately set about reloading my rifle, but had scarcely begun when it darted toward me. I retreated in as good order as possible, and must say I did some good running, not looking back until I found the animal had disappeared in the laurel thicket. This is no story, Mr. Editor, gotten up to scare naughty children. I am not the only one that has seen this monster. Several have seen it since I did, and as sheep and calves are lately missing, it is presumed to be a carnivorous brute. Many have fortified their homes to prevent a night attack from this strange monster, the like of which has never been seen in these mountains before. Some think it had escaped from some rambling menagerie, while others superstitiously think it was sent to warn people about an approaching danger. The Great Dismal Swamp, Wolfman. Sprawled out over a large area of southeastern Virginia and northeastern North Carolina, is a tangled mass of wilderness with the rather ominous name of the Great Dismal Swamp. This vast expanse of wetlands encompasses the Great Dismal Swamp National Wildlife Refuge and the Dismal State Park, covering tens of thousands of acres, and besides its rich biodiversity, the swamp has a long history being home to native tribes and also the location of remote settlements for escaped renegade slaves during the American slavery years. The Great Dismal Swamp is also a place of great mystery and the supposed haunt of a very strange and ferocious creature indeed. Within its maze of islands, waterways, and its dim, murky, and in some places nearly impenetrable wilderness, the Great Dismal Swamp is in many ways every bit as spooky as the name would suggest, full of snakes, gators prowl in the murky waters. It is a dangerous place, often avoided by settlers, and a perfect place for escaped slaves to hide out, hidden away from civilization. It is easy to peer into the gloomy, mosquito-infested wilderness of this place and imagine that something strange could be hiding here, and indeed, there have been tales of weirdness orbiting the swamp for years. Besides numerous tales of ghost lights, shadowy apparitions, and other supernatural denizens, there has also been reports of large, hairy, bipedal beast of some sort lurking here, which has mostly been described as a Wolfman. There were long reports of a giant 8-foot-tall, hairy-covered beast that smelled like rotten flesh prowling through the swamp, but reports seem to have taken off in 1902 when a rather strange report appeared in the March 20th, 1901 edition of the Richmond Dispatch. The strange dismal swamp monster, which one day this week killed 7 of Ed Smith's dogs, ate 2 of them, and later attacked Mr. Smith himself, has been seen again. Mr. Smith lives about 12 miles from Suffolk. Last night, L. Frank Ames, a merchant who lives near Bennett's Creek, saw the same thing and suffered from its ravages. Hearing a strange noise, Mr. Ames went out with his pistol. He thought at first it was a strange dog. When he learned it was the much-sought monster, Mr. Ames shot several times, but without effect. The thing growled savagely, being sent after it. 6 dogs refused to have conflict and fled in terror. They couldn't be induced to make an attack. The unknown animal escaped without being harmed. Afterward, it appeared at the home of Henry Jordan, colored, and sat defiantly on his covered well. The description is like the one furnished by Mr. Smith, a large, gaunt form, long yellow hair, and vicious eyes. The creature was spotted all over the area after this, usually described as bipedal with shaggy, matted hair covering its body and having eyes that glowed brightly. It was often described as having decidedly canine features and was apparently notorious for killing dogs and livestock, often leaving them in a mangled, savaged state. There were apparently hunters who would go out trying to kill the beast, and were supposedly successful on at least one occasion. But there seems to have been more than one of these things, according to one article in the era of March 21st, 1902 edition of Little Falls Herald. Another monster has come forth from the dismal swamp jungles and is spreading alarm among farmers around Driver, 12 miles from Suffolk, Virginia. Last week, an unclassified animal not indigenous to the high lands terrorized residents of Pleasant Hill, so that they were afraid to leave their home at night. After being chased by numerous armed posses, this beast was killed by Harrison Walker, a colored hunter. Now, Edward Smith, a farmer of Driver, says that a strange being visited his premises and killed 7 dogs, 2 of which were eaten, while the other 5 were just mutilated. Another dog took refuge under the barn, and Smith, hearing the dog's yells, went out with a pistol. The monster sprang upon him. Smith fell, and the beast tore his clothes to shreds. He finally beat it off, but the revolver, being corroded, would not fire. Whit Walker, of the same neighborhood, says the animal visited his home as well. From Smith's description, the animal is larger than a wolf with shaggy yellow hair, long head, and sunken eyes. It is gaunt and vicious. People are wondering what will come next from this unexplored swamp, made famous by Tom Moore's verses. The more superstitious regards the visitation of supernatural, and families are having much trouble with their servants. The creature, or something like it, has been sighted in the area sporadically, right up onto modern times, often with the detail that stands on hind legs and has the face like a man, but with a canine snout, which has led to speculation that the great Dismal swamp monster could be an actual werewolf. Other ideas are that it could be something like a swamp-dwelling Bigfoot, some sort of out-of-the-place wolf or bear, or even a type of cryptid known as the Dogman. But it is hard to say, as reports are few and far between, and mostly known from a handful of old newspaper articles. Whatever this creature is or was, it makes for very spooky stories. So apparently, North Carolina is a hot spot. Well, like I said last night, I really don't like, or the other day, I really don't like the term hot spot for cryptids, because it seems wherever we look, there isn't a cryptid too far away or some sort of tale of one. The Beast of Bladenboro. I'm on the fence, because there's been a lot of illustrations that people from eyewitnesses that have seen it and say it's cat-like or feline-like. Some others have made it look very canine-like, almost with like a pit bull snout. Not its head looking like a pit bull, but very resembling how a pit bull's snout would be. Very short, wide, but longer than a feline face. I'm wondering that if this creature is the same as what has been seen in the Great Dismal Swamp, is if it travels that, I think it's about 3 hours distance by car, so about 150 miles maybe distance, which would be very easy for a cryptid to do. The Beast of Bladenboro was also reported to be like 3 feet long, 20 inches high. I did a measurement, and if that creature at one point, or if it were bipedal and stood up, it would be about 6.5 feet tall, somewhere around there. It could possibly be the same creature. The thing that was spotted in Caswell back in the day, I don't know. That sounds like a Dogman, and what I'm thinking is the rack that the hunter saw on this thing, I think was possibly branches above its head, because the way he describes this creature sounds like a Dogman. It does not sound like your atypical deer man. But it sounds like a huge Dogman. Could have very possibly been just branches above its head, because the woods back in the 1800s were not as thinned out as they are now, and that could have been easily an optical illusion. The branches, oh my God, this thing's this big, holy, it's got a rack on its head. What is this? Also, he was terrified. He had to reload his gun. He's shooting one bullet at a time, and so there could have been a lot of observation or mistakes through observation. What do you guys think? All right, guys, a lot of great information and experiences right there in the area of Bladenboro, Great Dismal Swamp. Guys, thank you for supporting this channel. Your support is what makes this channel continue to grow and go, and honestly, what makes this channel what it is. And it is special. The amount of respect and courtesy you guys have for each other is just awesome. And that helps people feel welcome and willing to share their experiences with us. This channel would be nothing without you guys. So essentially, you are the channel. Thank you. Please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, our pets, our family, and friends. These creatures are real, they're out there, and they are dangerous. Share this information with the people you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions and never stop looking for those answers.